think, how can a 27-year-old drown himself in a pond? Is ponds that deep?
Lil Jon's son ran out of the house at dawn with nothing, no phone, no shoes, and went missing for 3 days before being found dead in a quiet Georgia pond. Shockingly, just days later, Lil Jon is being held by police as part of an ongoing investigation. How does a grieving dad end up under scrutiny? Well, we've got the full story. The disappearance and discovery. On the morning of February 3, 2026, Nathan Smith left his house in Milton, Georgia. He was 27 years old. He went by DJ Young Slade. He was Lil Jon's son, and by the time anyone could figure out what had happened, he was gone. He ran out on foot at approximately 6 a.m. He did not take his phone. He did not take his wallet. He did not take his keys. Police said he left under unusual circumstances and may have been disoriented and in need of assistance. Reports indicated he might not be wearing clothes and may have had no belongings with him. The word unusual in a police statement is measured and deliberate. It signals that whatever prompted Nathan to leave that house was not a routine decision. Something happened inside that home or inside Nathan's mind that made him bolt at dawn without any of the things a person takes when they intend to go somewhere.
They said he was last seen at 6 o'clock a.m. at his house in Milton. But y'all, it was kind of weird because they said he ran out naked. No phone, no wallet, no shoes, no keys, no nothing.
Milton is a suburban town about 30 miles north of Atlanta. The area around Baldwin Drive, where Nathan lived, is residential, the kind of place with cul-de-sacs, parks, and ponds scattered between houses. It is not the kind of place where a person vanishes. The Milton Police Department responded and immediately began search efforts, coordinating with multiple partner agencies. This was not a situation where the family had to wait 24 or 48 hours before police would act. The circumstances of Nathan's departure were alarming enough that law enforcement mobilized right away. K-9 units were deployed. Local law enforcement officers combed through the surrounding neighborhoods, streets, and wooded areas. The search included nearby parks, roads, and bodies of water. Search efforts focused specifically on Mayfield Lake along Baldwin Drive, though authorities stated they were unsure at the time whether the lake was connected to his disappearance. They included the area as a precaution, given its proximity to Nathan's home. Officials indicated he may be disoriented and in need of assistance. That language from authorities, disoriented and in need of assistance, was notable. It indicated that police, from the very beginning, considered the possibility that Nathan was not fleeing something, but experiencing something. The missing person alert was circulated widely on social media, describing Nathan as approximately 5'9", 150 pounds, with short black hair and a distinctive lips tattoo on his right collarbone. The alert classified him as potentially vulnerable and urged anyone who had seen him to contact the Milton Police Department immediately. Lil Jon's social media profiles and the broader Atlanta hip-hop community shared the flyer, amplifying the reach of the search across platforms. 3 days passed, no word from Nathan, no sighting, no phone activity because he did not have his phone, no contact with friends or family, no ATM withdrawal, no credit card use, no digital footprint of any kind, just silence. 3 full days of it. On February 6, 2026, the search expanded to include a pond in Mayfield Park near Nathan's Milton residence. The decision to bring divers in signaled that the nature of the search had shifted from a missing person case to a recovery operation. At approximately 11:53 a.m., divers with the Cherokee County Fire Department located and recovered a body from the pond. The Milton Police Department issued a statement. The individual recovered from the pond was believed to be Nathan Smith, pending official confirmation by the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office. The preliminary assessment provided some clarity, but left the critical questions unanswered. Why did Nathan leave his home the way he did, and how did he end up in that pond?
And right now, they said that they don't think it was any foul play.
That same day, Lil Jon, real name Jonathan Smith, and Nathan's mother, Nicole Smith, posted a joint statement on Instagram. The post was captioned with 3 emojis and included family photos. The statement read, "I am extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son, Nathan Smith. His mother and I are devastated. Nathan was the kindest human being you would ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He loved his family and the friends in his life to the fullest. He was an amazingly talented young man, a music producer, an artist and engineer, and graduate of NYU. We loved Nathan with all of our hearts and are incredibly proud of him. He was loved and appreciated, and in our last times together, we're comforted in knowing that we expressed that very sentiment to him. Thank you for all of the prayers and support in trying to locate him over the last last several days. That was it. That was the only statement from the family. No press conference, no follow-up interview, no second post, just those words, those photos, and then silence. Based on the investigation to date, the Milton Police Department said there was no indication of foul play. However, the Criminal Investigations Division would continue to treat this as an open and active investigation. The medical examiner's official confirmation and cause of death report were still pending. The Milton Police Department extended condolences to the family and requested privacy on their behalf. Now the question becomes, who was Nathan Smith? Because the answer to that question makes the circumstances of his death feel even more confusing, even more painful, and even harder to reduce to a simple explanation. Who was Nathan Smith? Nathan Smith was born on May 13, 1998, in Atlanta, Georgia. His father was Jonathan Smith, the man the world knows as Lil Jon, the architect of the crunk movement, the man behind records like Get Low and Turn Down for What, a voice so distinct that it became its own cultural phenomenon. His mother was Nicole Smith. They married in 2004 and separated amicably in 2022, maintaining a supportive co-parenting relationship that prioritized Nathan's well-being above everything else. Nathan was their only child together, and from the moment he entered the world, the music industry was not some abstract concept he would encounter later in life. It was the air he breathed, the rhythm that scored his childhood. When he was still a toddler, he contributed vocals to his father's 2000 track Bia Bia with the East Side Boys. He would accompany his father to after parties, soaking in the environment. They would test records together in car speakers, father and son, sitting in a vehicle, listening to mixes at full volume, the bass shaking the frame. He also dabbled in acting in commercials as a child, displaying an instinctive comfort in front of cameras and audiences that most kids his age would never have. Nathan grew up on the legacy of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, one of the most dominant forces in early 2000s hip-hop. But Nathan was never content to simply exist in that shadow. He wanted to build something of his own. By the time he was 10 or 11 years old, Nathan had started DJing seriously, drawn to the craft with an intensity that went beyond casual childhood interest. At 13, he enrolled in Scratch DJ Academy, one of the most respected DJ training institutions in the country. Shortly after completing that training, he landed an opportunity that would have been a career-defining moment for most adults. He joined Zendaya on tour as her DJ. Nathan took the academic route alongside the artistic one. He enrolled at New York University, specifically the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music at Tisch School of the Arts, one of the most prestigious music programs in the country. He graduated around 2020, emerging with a refined skill set that covered production, engineering, artistry, and performance. He returned to Atlanta and began carving out his space in the local scene under the moniker DJ Young Slade, sometimes shortened to just Slade. The production credits came steadily. He co-produced Saweetie's Get It Girl in 2021, a track that resonated far beyond the hip-hop world. It ended up featured in a Beats by Dre commercial and on HBO's critically acclaimed series Insecure. That kind of placement, for a young producer still building his name, was significant. It meant his work was reaching audiences who would never see his name on a track list, but would feel the quality of what he created. He worked with the Yin Yang Twins on various projects, handling production and engineering duties. He collaborated frequently with his father across multiple tracks, and in March 2025, he released Feels with Ice Cube, a collaboration that showcased the engineering skills his father had specifically praised. Lil Jon spoke about Nathan's abilities in a 2024 Paste magazine interview, saying, "He really knows how to engineer, and his stuff sounds really good." From one of the most accomplished producers in hip-hop history, that was not a throwaway compliment. It was an endorsement built on genuine respect for the craft. In 2025, Nathan's public profile grew significantly. He appeared alongside his father on MTV's Family Legacy, a show that explored the dynamics between music industry parents and their children. He and Lil Jon competed together on Celebrity Family Feud, where they raised money for charity. Nathan posted about the experience on Instagram, calling it a moment where he and his dad were making history. In a 2025 interview promoting Family Legacy, Nathan reflected on his relationship with his father's legacy with a maturity that was striking. "It's dope to appreciate my dad, show respect, and just look at all the things he's done, and it's nice to get the torch passed down and do my own thing." That quote tells you everything about where Nathan stood in his life, appreciative of where he came from, confident about where he was going, and clear-eyed about the distinction between the two. Friends, family, and collaborators described him with a consistency that is rare when people speak about the deceased. There was no hedging, no careful avoidance of negatives, no diplomatic phrasing that hinted at a more complicated truth beneath the surface. There were no public controversies, no documented feuds, no legal troubles, no interpersonal disputes, no beefs with anyone in the industry or outside of it. His parents' separation was amicable. His professional relationships were collaborative. His social presence was positive and free of the kind of drama that so often attaches itself to people in the entertainment world. He had a half-sister named Nahara, born in 2024 to Lil Jon and a different partner. And the family dynamic, despite the structural changes that come with separation and new relationships, remained intact, functional, and centered on mutual love and support. That is who Nathan Smith was. And the gap between the person described by everyone who knew him and the circumstances of how he left that house on the morning of February 3rd. That gap is the space where all the questions live. It is the space that keeps people awake at night, scrolling through comments and theories and speculation, searching for an explanation that makes the unexplainable make sense. It is also the space where online narratives rushed in to fill the void, narratives that moved faster than any police investigation ever could. The online reaction and speculation. Within hours of the missing person alert going out, social media began doing what social media does, amplifying, interpreting, theorizing, and spinning narratives at a speed that leaves facts in the dust. The initial wave of posts on X and Facebook shared the police flyer and called on the public to assist in the search. People retweeted, people shared, the Atlanta community mobilized. The intention was genuine and good, but once the body was recovered on February 6th and the news broke across every major outlet, the tone shifted. The mourning was real and widespread, but the speculation was right there alongside it, and the two coexisted in every comment section, on every platform, each feeding off the other in a cycle that neither the family nor the police could control. On YouTube, viewers of Fox 5 Atlanta's coverage of the body recovery debated potential causes, the details that police had released, the early morning departure, the lack of a phone, the possible disorientation, the suggestion that he may not have been wearing clothes, created a constellation of circumstances that practically begged for interpretation. Some commenters suggested Nathan may have been experiencing a mental health crisis, a manic episode, or a psychotic break that led to erratic behavior and ultimately an accidental drowning. They pointed to the description of him running out without a phone, without clothing, potentially disoriented, and read those details as consistent with a psychiatric emergency. Others speculated about drug involvement, proposing that Nathan could have been under the influence of a substance that caused severe disorientation or psychosis. Some suggested he may have been drugged by someone else, that the disorientation was not self-induced but inflicted upon him.
I mean, that seemed a little weird. Like, that don't seem like somebody trying to, plan to run away.
That feeling, the sense that the official account, while not contradicted by any evidence, felt incomplete, drove much of the online discourse. The details were too strange for people to simply accept at face value and move on. A 27-year-old man, by all accounts healthy and stable, runs out of his house at dawn with nothing and ends up dead in a pond 3 days later. People wanted more. They wanted an explanation that matched the strangeness of the circumstances.
And y'all, they said he was 27 years old.
And for a lot of people watching this unfold online, the next question was obvious.
You think, how can a 27-year-old drown himself in a pond? Is ponds that deep?
And then the theories escalated. On Facebook, a post from WCNC Charlotte garnered comments invoking long-running conspiracy theories about rappers sacrificing family members for fame, connecting Nathan's death to Illuminati rituals and claims of devil worship in the entertainment industry. These narratives have circulated online for well over a decade, applied to virtually every high-profile, unexpected death in the music world, from Left Field to Kanye West's mother, to XXXTentacion, to Pop Smoke. The template is consistent. Someone famous experiences loss, and the loss is reframed as a transactional payment for continued success. In Nathan's case, the specific details, the water, the mysterious departure, the 3-day gap, the timing relative to Lil Jon's career resurgence, provided what believers considered especially fertile soil. On X, posts from accounts like TMZ and Daily Loud amplified the news to millions, and the reply sections became battlegrounds between those mourning and those theorizing. Some users erroneously claimed that police suspect foul play, a direct misreading of the official statement, which said the exact opposite. Others brought up the so-called 27 Club, noting that Nathan died at the same age as Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, and Amy Winehouse. The numerology angle ran deep and wide across multiple platforms. Some commenters fixated on the dates, February 3rd and February 6th, and the 3-day interval between disappearance and discovery. Others pointed to the fact that Nathan was found in water, drawing connections to other cases where individuals crystals were discovered in bodies of water under ambiguous circumstances, and framing these as part of a ritual motif that transcended coincidence. The water connection was treated as particularly damning by conspiracy theorists. Bodies of water have long symbolic histories in both religious and occult traditions, and the theorists drew from that history to construct a reading of Nathan's death that positioned it as part of a centuries-old practice of ritual sacrifice conducted in or near water. But through all of this, the majority of people simply mourned. They posted prayers for the family, they shared Nathan's music, they circulated clips from Celebrity Family Feud, where father and son had laughed together on camera just months earlier. Outlets like OKPlayer posted tributes, mourning the loss of a rising creative with a passion for music and culture. The family's grief and the community's response. The silence from Lil Jon and Nicole Smith after that initial February 6th statement was deliberate, total, and unbroken. No follow-up interviews were given to the dozens of outlets requesting them. No additional social media posts appeared on Lil Jon's accounts. No press conferences were scheduled or held. No public appearances were made. Between February 6th and February 10th, 2026, the most concentrated period of media attention surrounding Nathan's death, the family maintained complete privacy, with no further statements or appearances reported. The only public-facing artifact of their grief remained that single Instagram post. And when you examine that post more carefully, specific phrases carry an enormous emotional weight that becomes clearer with each reading. The line, "In our last times together, we're comforted in knowing that we expressed that very sentiment to him," the sentiment being love and pride, suggests that Lil Jon and Nicole had recently sat with Nathan and told him directly that they loved him, that they were proud of him, that he mattered to them. Whether this was days before or weeks before February 3rd is unknown, but the specificity of the language indicates that these were not general feelings the family held, but rather words that had been spoken out loud, face to face, in a recent encounter, and that this memory provided some measure, however small, however insufficient, of comfort in the aftermath. The Instagram post featured several family photos, images that captured moments of connection and joy that now existed in an entirely different emotional register. One showed what appeared to be Nathan, a bearded man, standing in front of a red building. Another was a group photo of children, possibly including a young Nathan in the frame. Lil Jon, a man who built his entire career on being one of the loudest, most viscerally energetic presences in popular music, went completely silent. The man whose voice was synonymous with ad-libs that could rattle stadium speakers, "Yeah, okay, what?" had nothing more to say publicly about the death of his son. That silence communicated the depth of the pain in a way that no words, no matter how carefully chosen, could have matched. He also had a young daughter, Nahara, born in 2024 with a different partner, adding another dimension to the family's emotional landscape during this period. No information about Nahara's awareness of the situation or the extended family's involvement has been shared publicly, which is consistent with the family's clear and unwavering desire for privacy. While the family retreated from public view, the hip-hop community stepped forward to provide the kind of visible, communal support that the Smiths themselves were not in a position to offer. The music industry, for all its competitive dynamics and public feuds, has a long tradition of circling around its own in moments of loss, and Nathan's death activated that tradition with particular force, given both Lil Jon's stature in the culture and the shocking nature of what had occurred. Rapper E40, a longtime friend of Lil Jon, spoke to TMZ on February 8th, 2026, expressing that he was reeling from the tragic and sudden loss and sending prayers of strength and support to Lil Jon and the entire family. E40's words carried the weight of a personal relationship. This was not a generic celebrity condolence statement crafted by a publicist and posted to social media for optics. On social media, the tributes continued flowing throughout the days that followed the announcement. Fans shared Nathan's music, tracks many of them were hearing for the very first time. They reposted clips from Family Legacy and Celebrity Family Feud, finding new poignancy in footage that had originally been lighthearted entertainment. The investigation, meanwhile, remained open and active. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office had not yet issued its official identification or cause of death determination, and in the vacuum created by that waiting, a very particular kind of online narrative continued to build momentum, one that had increasingly less to do with Nathan Smith, the person, his music, his family, or the actual investigation, and more to do with long-standing beliefs about the price of fame, the hidden machinery of celebrity, and what the entertainment industry supposedly demands from those who participate in it at the highest levels. The conspiracy narrative and the facts. The conspiracy theory that attached itself to Nathan Smith's death follows a template that has been applied to dozens, if not hundreds, of celebrity tragedies over the past 2 decades. The framework operates on a set of assumptions. The entertainment industry is controlled by occult forces. Success within it is not earned through talent and opportunity, but purchased through spiritual transactions. The currency of those transactions is the lives of loved ones, children, siblings, parents, close friends. When a famous person experiences a sudden, unexplained loss, the death is not a tragedy, but a payment, a sacrifice rendered in exchange for continued fame, wealth, career longevity, or industry access. In Nathan's case, the elements that conspiracy theorists seized upon were specific and numerous. The departure from the house at 6 a.m., 6 being a number with occult significance in numerological frameworks. February 3rd, the 3rd day of the month. 3 days missing. Found on February 6th, the 6th. Found in water. Bodies of water being a recurring motif in sacrifice narratives. Age 27, the 27 Club. Each of these details, individually mundane and explainable by the simple mechanics of reality, was assembled into a mosaic that, to believers in the framework, pointed unmistakably toward something deliberate, orchestrated, and hidden from public understanding. The sacrifice narrative was then bolstered by circumstantial context from Lil Jon's career trajectory. He had been set to perform at the Super Bowl. His career had experienced a meaningful resurgence in recent years, transitioning from crunk into house music and broader DJ work, expanding his brand and climbing back into cultural relevance. In the logic of the conspiracy framework, this kind of professional upswing is never coincidental. It is compensation, a reward granted by unseen industry powers after a price has been paid. Nathan's death in this reading was not something that happened to Lil Jon, but something that happened because of Lil Jon, initiated or permitted in exchange for the career benefits that would follow. Additional layers were woven into the theory by pulling in Lil Jon's public discussions about plant medicine and trauma therapy. In an interview, Lil Jon described his experience with EMDR therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a legitimate and widely used treatment for PTSD and other trauma-related conditions. He described the experience as profound, as a process that allowed him to access suppressed memories and understand the roots of his behavioral patterns. He spoke about being able to revisit his childhood self through the therapeutic process and offer comfort to that younger version of himself. He also discussed ayahuasca, a powerful psychoactive brew used in ceremonial contexts across South America and increasingly in Western therapeutic settings. The circumstances of his departure from the house, the absence of a phone, the possible lack of clothing, the apparent disorientation, are consistent with what medical professionals describe as a mental health emergency. The police themselves used language pointing in that direction, noting he may be disoriented and in need of assistance. While no official psychiatric diagnosis has been made public, and this remains speculative, the behavioral presentation described by authorities aligns with known patterns that mental health experts have identified in discussions surrounding the case. What happened to Nathan Smith is a tragedy. A 27-year-old man with a growing career, a supportive family, a network of people who loved him, and a future filled with work yet to be created and relationships yet to be deepened is dead. That wraps up this video. For more interesting videos like this, check out the cards on your screen.